Okay, I think we got this recording. Welcome to our Sunday night Zoom webinar. I am Kerry Williams, and we have the pleasure of having Joanne Shearer Parkin on as well. And we're going to be talking about your story, and Joanne's going to be talking about the Physique line and the synergy of using the entire line. Are you guys getting a little feedback? I'm hearing. Hang on. Do you guys hear that? No. Oh,
yes, we can. There's some feedback.
You hear that, Maria? Okay.
Someone has an iPad that isn't muted. Tony's iPad. You can mute yourself.
You guys can please just. We muted everyone, but for some reason it's not showing. So if you can go ahead and mute yourself so we don't get feedback. Okay. We're going to go on, but as I said, we're talking about your story and the Physique line and the synergy of using the entire line. But first, I want to get started with your story. And you guys, I love these Sunday night training webinars. We love the Zoom. We love being able to see everyone. I am just coming back from Atlantis. We were there for a week. So first, we want to welcome all new distributors and welcome everyone to this Zoom webinar. And I just can't even tell you how strongly we want you to qualify for and win the Lifevantage incentive trip for next year at Atlantis. It was absolutely mind-blowing, and the whole time I just couldn't stop thinking about how awesome it would be to have, our team there and to be sharing that experience. So just had to say that right off the bat. But your story is a critical part of how you share this story. It's a really, really important part. You don't want to overlook it. So there's some key components that you really want to include when you're talking about your story. So who are you? Where are you from? What did you do before Lifevantage? How did you hear about this? Whether it's Lifevantage, the industry, what were you not happy with in your current life? What moved you to take action? And what is your life like now that you have Lifevantage? So you really want your story to be, 2 minutes max. And then we'll kind of talk about expanding it and contracting it after. But just to give you an idea, for those who don't know me, briefly, my story is I'm Kerry Williams. I'm from Chandler, Arizona. I was a retail manager for 13 years. I was introduced to Lifevantage 7 years ago, Father's Day, hard to believe. At the time, I had a 3-year-old baby and a 4-year-old. My good friend, Kerry called me. She's super into health and prevention. She shared that ABC primetime with me. I watched it in the middle of the night after feeding my newborn baby. I stayed up researching it. I was intrigued. To me, the product was a no-brainer. But she also called because she knew I was at a transition point. My husband, Todd, was an attorney. He absolutely was miserable, hated what he did. We were each working 60, 70 hours a week. We didn't see our first child, and now with our second child just being born, we were not excited about the idea of not having time to spend with our kids. And I just really didn't want the next 10 years to look like the last 10 years. And so I felt like something had to change. 2 years after I was introduced to Lifevantage, my little one, Luke, the newborn, was diagnosed with autism. 3 months after that, my husband was able to retire 27 months into me doing this business. So he retired from being a commercial litigator after 27 months after I was introduced to Lifevantage. So he's been a stay-at-home dad now for almost 5 years, you guys. It's hard to believe. We own our life. We have time and financial freedom, and we've impacted so many more lives through the products than we ever possibly could, one by one, or doing anything else. Helped over 40 people retire, and so many more are well on their way. So that's just really briefly my story. Your story, you really want it to connect with people. You want to be able to relate with people. There are other people out there just like you in that same situation. So, and they're looking for answers. There are people out there, like me, that were working long hours, or that didn't have time with their kids, or they were miserable at work, or wanting a change, not knowing what that looked like, but knowing that something had to change. Or, then later with my son with autism, So really think about how you can connect with people. And really your story is your story. Work on it, practice it, write it down, like video it, get feedback from people, and time it. Don't have it be more than 2 minutes, but you can also have a short version and then a longer version. When you're sitting down with a new distributor, and finding out about them and sharing your story with them, you might lengthen it, based on their needs as well. Or maybe you're expanding it, or talking about certain parts of it based on the person that you're talking to. For example, if I'm talking to maybe a prospect, maybe I'm doing a 3-way call with someone that's been in network marketing before, they didn't have success. As the person's introducing me to them, I could be then also adding in how I was involved in a network marketing company before Lifevantage. I worked really hard in it for 2 years. I got the concept of this business model. When I saw that, I got the time and financial freedom and the ability to help more people than I ever could have. I worked my tail off for 2 years. I spent way more than I made. And I did not get what I wanted out of it, but I learned a ton about the industry. It was like boot camp. I learned what to do, what not to do, and that helped set me up for success with Lifevantage. It also allowed me to better evaluate this as a business. So the same kind of rules apply, right? Like, how can you translate your story, and how can that connect and relate to the person that you're talking to? Or maybe I'm talking, to someone with really little kids. So I might, talk more about then how I worked, how I was able to incorporate this with a newborn and a preschooler and things like that. Another thing that's really important is other people's stories and share those stories as well. So you have your story, but again, this whole business, it's about relating to people. It's a people business. So, I was a retail manager for 13 years. I didn't have my own business before network marketing. So I don't have the story of a business owner, but I have a lot of people that are in my business that are business owners. So I can, share with them, yes, I've got a lot of business owners in my business, and they've told me all about the headaches of overhead and employees, or not being able to go on vacation because you're losing money while you shut your business down, plus spending the money on vacation, that kind of thing. Or maybe a commission salesperson. I've never, again, been in commission sales, but, we have a lot of people in our business that are. And so if you're talking to someone with that, you can, again, relate like, oh, I've got a lot of realtors in my business, or people that, are in commission sales jobs, and they can make a phenomenal income, but they never get off that hamster wheel. They're only as good as their last month. And if they're not out there working and grinding it out month after month, they do not have stability. And it's very, rough. It's not an even thing. So again, just using other people's stories as well to connect and to relate. So as I said, practice your story, time it, get feedback, that. Kerry Dickey always says, if it's not necessary to say, then it's necessary not to say that. Okay, that sounds confusing, but let me repeat that. If it's not necessary to say, it's necessary not to say it. So don't go on and on and on about meaningless details. What really matters is what's in it for them, right? Keep it short. Connect with people. People want to see that you're human. Share your struggle, share your pain, but don't go overboard and make people uncomfortable with what you're sharing either, right? Most of these people you might not know. But again, ultimately, what's in it for them? So keep it brief and to the point, and how Lifevantage could be an answer to what they are looking for, whether that's the time freedom. Maybe they have a phenomenal job, but they do not have time freedom. Maybe it's the financial benefits. Maybe it's the health benefits. Maybe they want to be part of something bigger and they want to impact more lives than they ever possibly could. And this can be their way. So connect all of that to the person that you're talking to. And just remember that when you're talking about your story, really, you're just piquing their interest enough so they'll take a look at the information. Then you're going to tell the story. We're not going to get into that tonight, but when you're telling the story, you're sharing that ABC Primetime Report, right? You're sharing the product, and that's how we start with that ABC video for duplication purposes. We share the company story, we share timing, we share the comp plan, how to get involved. But your job in telling your story is to get their interest enough to hopefully connect with them so they can take a look at this information and see if this could be a fit for them. So please, 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 you guys work on your stories. Really work with your team on that as well. It's, like I said, a critical component of it. Now, I have the pleasure of introducing Joanne Shearer Parkin. She's absolutely incredible. I had the pleasure of meeting her, I think it was my first, actually, before we even went to South Dakota, Joanne flew down to Phoenix for a training. They didn't even have trainings in South Dakota when she got involved. She's been in nutrition, dietetics for 45 years, including 15 years as a certified diabetes educator. She's won awards as being the first dietitian in the U.S. to implement a Mediterranean diet in a hospital setting, in spite of critics that said it would never work. She's a trendsetter and an early adopter in her career, so it's not surprising that she saw Lifevantage and Nerf2 as a revolution as in nutrition and health. But she's just phenomenal, and she is just a powerhouse. She blows me away every time. And Joanne has a phenomenal story. So Joanne, first, I'd love for you to briefly share your story. And then if you could share with everyone about the synergy of the whole Physique line and share all that. Joanne, are you out there?
I'm going to unmute her.
Okay, give me a sec.
I unmuted myself. Is that going to work?
Perfect. Go,
Okay.
Take it away, Joanne. Thank you so much for joining you. We are just thrilled and honored to get to work with you and to have you on the call tonight.
Thank you so much. And greetings, everybody. I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, my summer home here. And that is one thing about Lifevantage. It allows me to live wherever I want to, and choose to live winters in Arizona and summers in Sioux Falls, and it's the best of both worlds, and I'm loving it. And so my story is, I'm Joanne Shearer Parkin. I'm a registered dietitian and a nutritionist of 45 years. And when I was introduced to Lifevantage, I was a head dietitian at the Vera Heart Hospital in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And it was also a time of great loss and sorrow in my life. My husband of 32 years had just passed away from brain cancer. And so it was a time of, like I said, great loss and great sorrow. And a cardiologist, by the name of Dr. Mark Gordon, stopped by my office one day, invited me to a Lifevantage presentation. And when I saw the scientific validation on our flagship product, Parkin Nerf2, I was immediately impressed that it could lower oxidative stress by 40% in 30 years. And I knew from all my years of being in my profession and having an intense passion and interest about dietary supplements that there was really nothing out there that could really do that. And so what I did was I actually signed up that very day as a distributor because I wanted to get this information out to my family and my friends that I loved in my life, because I knew they all needed Parkin Nerf2. I never really had intentions in the beginning that I would convert this into a business, or that I would become a professional network marketer. But when I got out there and I started sharing this with others, the checks started coming in. And when I started holding those checks in my hands, I was looking at them and, and it was like this still small voice inside of me said, Joanne, this is the business you've been looking for. Because when my husband died, I was $2,000 short in my retirement account to be able to retire comfortably. And I was looking at having to, be stuck in that windowless office, until I was into my 70s, and I was only 61 at the time. And so I then got busy. I decided I should put some time and effort into this business and just see what might happen. Well, a lot happened. Within 20 months, I had achieved enough income that it was not only my $2,000 a month, but it was enough to replace my salary. So I walked out of that windowless office into this newfound freedom I have now. You know, like I said, you know, I have time freedom and I have financial freedom, and I can live wherever I want and travel and enjoy my life with my wonderful husband, Jim Parkin. We were married 3 years ago, and he is my greatest support in my business. He just is so kind and loving and supports me. And he says he's the back office part of our business, and he's way more than that. And so I just wanted to say that what started out to be what I thought was just going to be just sharing people about a breakthrough in nutrition that I thought was important has turned into providing me with a dream lifestyle that I never thought was possible in retirement. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So with that, okay, I'm going to share a little my PowerPoint program. I prepared a little PowerPoint for you tonight. I hope it helps you as much as it helps me, you know, to stay on track with my talk, a little bit that I'm going to talk about. Okay, so Kerry said that I was going to be talking about how the Physique products all work together as a system. And in the process of looking at that and reviewing all that information, and it dawned on me that there was one product in the Physique system that we have not talked about on our training sessions on Sunday nights. And that's the Physique protein shake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about how that fits in with the probiotic, with the fat burn, and with the cleanse. But this is critically important, and I think that this is information that you may not have heard before. And what the title of my little 10-minute talk is going to be here is that the Physique protein shake, it's more than just for bodybuilders and weight loss, okay? So let's talk about that, and what does that really mean? First of all, for those especially that might be new, I'm just going to give a little summary about like what is our Physique protein shake. It's a protein supplement. It's not a complete meal replacement. You need to add other foods to the protein shake in order to make it into a complete meal. And you can do that at home. And there's just endless varieties of options that you can make with our shake. And by the way, it tastes absolutely fabulous. It tastes so great. It's just almost tastes like it's sinful when you're drinking it, you know. So it has 12 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, and it's low in calories, only 70 calories. And this is what I love too, is it free of gluten, soy, GMO, artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors and hormones. The sweetener in there is stevia. Our protein shake is made of 80% whey, which is whey protein concentrate, which is a fast protein that's called branched-chained amino acids. These amino acids just quickly get incorporated into your muscles, and it builds muscle mass. Especially when combined with resistance training, that's what that RT is, resistance training, and it's also fabulous for a quick recovery after workout. So a great thing to do with this shake is you have your shake in the morning, whip it up, and add other foods if you want to in the morning. And then after your workout, whatever time of that day might be, have another protein shake after your recovery to help build that lean body mass. Because remember, your lean body mass is your protein burning machine in your body. That's what gets your metabolic rate revved up. And so you want more muscle mass and less fat, right? That's the whole concept of our Physique program. 20% of the protein in there is casein, and it's slow protein. It's a slow release protein that helps with increased satiety, which means to help you feel full longer. It's interesting, when I was doing a little bit of research on this, you know, the protein content of a glass of milk is exactly kind of opposite. In a glass of milk, you have 80% casein and 20% whey. So just keep that in mind. Now, like I said in the beginning, whey protein, which is that 80% in the Physique shake, is more than just for bodybuilders. It is probably even more critically important for older adults. And I'm in that category now. I hate to say it, but I mean, I don't feel like I'm old. You know, I don't feel old. You know, my chronological age tells me I'm going to be 68 next month. But I can tell you, I feel a lot younger than that. You know, thank God for Protandim Nerve 2, right? And all these great products that I'm taking. But there's a condition of aging called sarcopenia, which affects 30% of adults over age So what is sarcopenia? It's a loss of skeletal mass in older adults, and it contributes to frailty and increased falls. Because guess what? If you don't have muscle mass to hold you up, you can easily fall if you're older. It's also associated with decreased health span, and also associated with increased oxidative stress and inflammation. Now, branched-chain amino acids in the whey protein, those are essential to preserve your lean body mass, no matter what age, but especially as you get older. And especially if you're an adult over age 55, and you've decided that you need to lose some weight, and you're going to start cutting back on your calories. So you have to be particularly careful about getting not only adequate protein, but the right amount of protein, and absolutely should be including some whey protein in your diet. The research is showing, and it has been for a number of years, that as you reduce calorie intake, you need to increase protein intake. And there are studies out there particularly aimed at older adults. They need 1.2 grams a kilogram per body, 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. So if you look at this example, by the way, the normal RDA for protein is about 0.8 grams. So you can see this is a significantly more, 1.2 grams. So I'm giving you a little example here. So if you have your typical 180-pound female that needs to lose some weight, if you look at that, she needs 98 grams of protein a day. That's a pretty substantial amount of protein that's needed to preserve her lean body mass. So let's say she has 2 Physique protein shakes a day. She's going to get that 20 grams of whey protein, and that's what I recommend for older adults, and actually for anyone that is reduced calories, or anyone who's intensely working out. You need at least 20 grams of that whey protein. Plus, you need, in this case, this female would need another 10 ounces of other protein sources to equal and to make up the loss. So you see, it's a fairly high protein diet. So if you look at the research on what diet is best for preserving, for weight loss, and also for in the long term, it's turning out that it is the high protein diet that seems to be the best pattern for weight loss and also for keeping it off. And it's not because so much that you're cutting out the carbohydrates on that diet, it's because you're increasing the protein. Now, some other benefits of whey protein that you might not know about, I've heard about, is that it helps to reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. How about that? And why does it do that? Because whey protein helps to preserve your basal metabolic rate. That's the rate at which you're burning calories. It also helps to reduce after meal blood sugar levels. So if you substitute, 80 calories of that 20 grams of whey protein for other foods in your diets, it's going to significantly, especially carbs, significantly reduce that blood sugar after meals. And it also helps to reduce the belly fat. How about this one? It inhibits the development of cancer cells. How does it do that? A couple different ways. It increases glutathione by 60%. That's what that 20 grams of whey protein per day. Now, okay, we know that there's something out there that is significantly more effective at increasing glutathione, and that is protandim NRF2, right? That is 300%. But any additional benefit that you can get by increasing glutathione is phenomenal, because glutathione is the master antioxidant enzyme in our body. It is critically important for our brain. There's another ingredient in whey protein called lactoferrin, and lactoferrin inhibits cancer and tumors. Isn't that interesting? The other benefits of lactoferrin are numerous. Listen to this. It kills dangerous microbes. It nurtures beneficial bacteria, optimizes your blood iron levels, boosts immunity, enhances your intestinal absorptive cells, which help with absorbing all your nutrients, and reduces inflammation, enhances gene transcription. How fantastic is that? Guess what protandim NRF2 and protandim NRF1 are? These are called transcription factors. So can you see the benefit of combining whey protein with protandim NRF1 and NRF2? Absolutely. Whey protein boosts immune function. What else helps to boost immune function? We know that it is our probio. Fabulous. Whey proteins boost immune response and antibodies up to 5 times greater than other protein sources. Okay, pretty impressive, right? So I found this little schematic diagram about all of the benefits of whey proteins. And it's, as you can see by this diagram, in my 10-minute talk tonight, it's literally impossible for me really to get into all of these benefits of whey proteins. I want to talk a little bit about there up on the right-hand side. You see the wound healing. And when I was working in critical care, nutrition, and I'm telling you, this is starting like maybe 30 years ago. We started utilizing whey protein in patients after as soon as they were able to start eating again, after they'd been in the ICU and maybe they'd been really sick and on maybe, on a respirator and whatever and on a tube feeding, the first thing we would want to get into them was a whey protein powder. Why? Because it was very, very powerful at helping with the wound healing, because so many of these patients had some kind of surgery, some kind of wound that needed to be healed. We learned about the immune enhancing benefits of the whey protein, right? And so we would try to get that whey protein into them right away, because for wound healing and for the immune enhancing benefits. We have learned since then, 30 years ago, a multitude, like I talked about, there's a multitude of other benefits, of health benefits, of consuming whey protein. The other one that I learned about years ago as well was the anti-hypertensive benefits of whey proteins, especially again, like if you consume some whey protein in place of a few other calories in your diet, it can really be significant at helping to lower blood pressure. How about that? So my bottom line message today is that the whey protein shake, it's not just for bodybuilders and weight loss. As I talked about, is that it's actually something that older adults should be consuming on a daily basis. And as you know, the population is aging. The sarcopenia is a huge concern for older adults and helping to preserve that lean body mass. And I know with working over the years, with working in long-term care, older adults just do not get enough and adequate protein. So you're thinking, when you're out there thinking of, who could benefit from a Physique protein shake? Do you have your grandmother on your list that you want to talk to? Do you have your parents if they're over 55? How about your aunt and uncle? Are you just thinking about the bodybuilders down at the gym? But who can benefit from our Physique protein shake? Everyone. Okay, I think with that, Kerry, I'm going to turn this back over to you.
Awesome. Wow, Joanne, that was incredible, incredible, incredible. Thank you so much. You are exactly right. We have not talked about the protein shake, and we get so many questions, why whey versus other things? And, absolutely information that I have not heard others share. So thank you. I mean, who knew? Inhibits the development of cancer cells, increases glutathione 60%, or that it's immune response 5 times more than other proteins. Like,
right.
Awesome. Like literally I could listen to you all day and night. And you guys, don't feel like you have to know all that to share all that, but know that to build your belief in what we have our hands on. And like Joanne said, who else do you need to share this with? And look at Joanne, look at the caliber of people that Lifevantage is attracting. Look at our team, and just use that to boost your belief so you have confidence. Go out there, share it, and be a product of the products. Use all of our products day in and day out, and fall in love and let them change your life. So I just really want to thank you, Joanne, for co-hosting with me. Always incredible. Just absolutely a powerhouse, and you just amaze me. So thank you for taking the time to share with us. And thank you guys for jumping on the call tonight. We've got the Monday morning call tomorrow, a Thursday opportunity call, and the Sunday Zoom training next week as well. Make sure you get registered for Denver Elite Academy. That is coming up in just a few short weeks. Cannot wait to see everybody there. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Just a power-packed weekend of a few days. So get to Denver, and we will see you on the Zoom next week. Thanks, guys.
Night,